Good morning again. Let us talk about in this last series of lectures on globalization. Let us talk about global shifts and how uh, globalization is understood in terms of shifts that have happened in the theoretical idea of how we understand it. Do we understand globalization as a borderless world? Uh, Mostly theories from the arena of finance and business have proposed so. In fact, long before globalization was gained currency as a term in the theoretical world, they have been the advocates of an idea of a borderless world. Now, this borderless world, for example, one of the theorists from business, Omain, championed this kind of a border. He used this concept called the borderless world. So new forms of technologies have emerged, communication have emerged, as we have already told, and these have integrated, because we are talking about the field of business and finance, and this we integrated the financial markets around the world. This have integrated the world of doing business and the ease of doing business. Friedman, a journalist per se, referred to globalization as a straitjacket, rather a golden straitjacket. So what he says is, once you have got into this straitjacket, you don't have your political choices basically are then reduced to the idea of Pepsi or Coke, and that means you are left with no other political choice. You have accepted the forces of globalization. So this was also a kind of a warning to the uh, world that the perils of globalization is also very much there once you accept it uh, in a manner that you are left with no other choice. Now, here I have to mention a very important theorist, Francis Fukuyama. Francis Fukuyama was a very important critique of globalization and capitalism. In his seminal book, The End of History, its title also the same, he argues that the collapse of the Berlin Wall actually ushered in an era where people and governments and countries don't necessarily make a difference. Their subjectivities are lost at the altar of globalization. What he suggests is that individuals don't make a difference at all, individual governments don't make a difference at all once you have embraced globalization. And he pinpoints to the fall of the Berlin Wall and the fall of the Soviet Union as this forces, because the rise of America was one of the reasons that we see these two major events happening around the globe during that period of the 90s. So he was writing about he was truly a pessimist, in the sense that the agency of change, he said, wasn't there anymore. The agency of governments, of individuals to bring about their own to have a control over your own action was missing, according to him. So what he would then go on to say is, countries would adopt a consumer culture without a choice, basically, and the competitive political system as a result will be integrated to the world economy. So he was predicting a kind of a age where each nation would be forced almost to be integrated and be part of the economy, which is global in nature. So consumer culture would be the new culture. It would be policy would be driven by what consumer culture dictates. And Francis Fukuyama's many of his ideas were much talked about, they were much debated, and he was proved true to some extent. Now, if you understand Anthony Giddens, one of the famous sociologists of his time, you will understand there that Giddens has studied modernity, he has studied globalization, and he comes to a conclusion. He says that this idea of Francis Fukuyama, that everything will be global in nature, driven by consumer culture, but he argues that modernity uh, then uh, will be a kind of society which will be produced by the West and consumed by the rest. So Anthony Giddens's idea of modernity will be then of a global culture, but this idea of globalization, this idea of the new society, this idea of the new culture would be an extension of the what is produced by the West. And remember, this term is very important here. So he is mentioning the idea of production. So production will drive culture, production will drive society, and it will be produced by the West, consumed by the all other nations. Uh, and he also says that globalization will only be an extension of this idea to the whole planet. So globalization as an aspect of modernity will be a produced and a consumed modernity. So this is what Anthony Giddens was talking about. Uh, so if we are talking of a borderless world, so globalization as all conquering is an idea that gives rise to this concept of the borderless world. Globalization will conquer one day the whole universe. There will be one source of globalization. The flow will be one-sided. The flow will be from the center to the periphery. The flow will be not only one source of globalization, but the process of globalization would also be one. Now this is something to be mentioned here. So globalization travels in one direction till it encounters obstacle. What were those obstacles? As we have already seen, there are obstacles of various kinds, resistance of various kinds that globalization will face, but yet globalization overcomes all of these. Globalization does not really wait for obstacles to stop it. It will globalization will become hybrid. Globalization will create the new global. Globalization will find a way to mutate and spread in newer forms. So globalization travels in one direction. It's a flow, basically, from the top to the bottom, from the north to the south, from the west to the east. So globalization creates these new ideas of the borderless world. Another concept that has gained currency with the advent of globalization has been the concept of space and time. I had talked about the temporality and spatiality while explaining globalization in one of my previous classes, how there is a temporal and a spatial contraction happening. So if you understand the space, globalization is a continuously expanding idiom. The borders are constantly expanding and encompassing new regions, new countries, new societies as it spreads. So, this space that globalization conquers each day and constitutes the new world, constitutes the globalized world, is what this expanding borders is, or can be understood, is termed as an Euclidean world, Euclidean world by Law and Urey. So in their seminal work, they are calling this kind of a constant covering of space every day by the globalized world as an Euclidean world. So it's an ever increasing, ever stretching boundaries of the world. So space here is understood and experienced as empty and abstract. So what is the space within those boundaries is actually defined by the borders of a globalized world. So the inside space is a very abstract space. It's a very empty space. You don't know what is there. This understanding of this abstract space is by the border actually has And this has happened around the world. This kind of a abstract space where the borders have been redefined based on this space, we see in this case of European. So most of these European nation, although they have come together to form the European Union today, but the construction of the states have happened through this. In fact, Sunil Khilnani argues that in the case, the bordering of India, the constitution of the idea of a bounded space called India was only possible because of the idea of the abstract space. Now, the Britishers defined this abstract space through their regulations and legislations that they had brought about since 1897. Now, Sunil Khilnani argues that the idea of India, this diverse land called India, has been bound together by border, has been bound around this abstract space, is a very important idea because it has unified the idea of India. So, this kind of uh, abstraction has also happened to a large extent due to increase in the use of ideas such as statistics and the science of large numbers, the politics and the science of large numbers, what we call metadata today, probably. So we have started to think in terms of abstract terms because of this. What has happened because of this? What has happened because of statistics and large numbers? What has it allowed is, it has allowed to to register, because it has become a register of reality into a single construction. So you define things in terms of numbers, for example. So what these large numbers do for you is they subsume all those local registers. So the local doesn't exist anymore. What happens is the large register actually confines all of this and takes it under it, so it becomes part of a greater whole. Thus local registers become part of a greater whole. So like if we consider the India story again, and the whole idea of India, the diverse idea of a bordered India, would subsume the politics of large number, the politics of a large India would subsume local singularities. So the subjugation or subsumation of local registers, localities, smaller identities happens due to that. So what happens is, we are a one India. We are no longer a small kingdom based India. So we are a large India. So the large register subsumes the local registers. So what happens is, space is extended and is bordered, but along with it there is a change in the experience of time. As space is abstract, the experiences of time also differ. uh, so this example of Anderson, Benedict Anderson, in his uh, book The Imagined Community, is actually underlines this importance of the time. So what was he arguing? He was arguing in his book about the importance of print newspapers, and how they helped in formation of national societies. So the reach of the print, the reach of the newspapers helped in determining those boundaries of nation. So they produced a powerful new sense of a community. The community feeling arose from the reach of those newspapers. This was his whole uh, thesis of his book. This modern understanding of society is grounded in this idea of time, the experience of time. So how do you experience? Because the idea of this imagination of community, the imagined community, is of simultaneity. What does that mean? The idea of a production of a society through newspapers happens every morning, let's say. So every morning the newspaper as a print reaches out to your doorstep, to every doorstep. So it creates a sense of language, it creates a sense of understanding, it creates a sense of culture, it creates a sense of a community. So there is a sense of simultaneity that happens because it's happening at the same time. You are reading the same language at the same time, sitting across the region, across the bounded bordered space. So this sense of simultaneity, the temporality, actually helps in achieving this idea of a bordered space. So imagined community is created at the same point in time of the abstract space. So two things go hand in hand. If you look at how globalization uses time, you will be struck by the idea of how today in a globalized economy, like product launches happen simultaneously. So the idea of time is very important. Movie releases will happen simultaneously across the globe. Let's say a particular movie is released, or if you consider digital networks today and digital direct to home digital networks, you will realize that the same time that I can look at a Chris Hemsworth movie sitting in the States, I can watch the same movie sitting in India. So this simultaneity creates that the importance of simultaneity in globalization cannot be said here more. This is this idea of how simultaneity creates this, how the importance of time is there in a globalization. So temporality is the center of this temporality, and of course, as I had previously argued about the idea of space itself. So the idea of this global society, or that is achieved by globalization, is combined with abstract space and time consciousness of simultaneity, and this creates an ever expanding society outwards from the center. To understand this, I will explain it once more. So the concept of globalization is driven by the concept of space and ever expanding border, because you are taking in abstract space every day. Globalization is taking on abstract space. Your boundaries of globalization are stretching. So today, let's say I sell soap, for example. I sell soap. So if today my market is up to Guwahati and tomorrow my marketing team goes up to Bongaigaon or Dhubri, so my marketing space increases, so that abstract space increases. It takes a more border. So the if today the border was Guwahati, tomorrow is up to Dhubri, next day it's up to another place. So it keeps on increasing as the borders keep on stretching. And the idea of simultaneity also combines with it because of the idea of how each thing happens at the same time. And what it does, it creates an ever expanding universe. Globalization creates an ever expanding society from outwards from the center. And this is the concept of the implosion, how it the idea of the exploding universe, how globalization is an ever expanding idea. The next concept in globalization is the idea of structures to flows. I will continue with this lecture in the next video itself.